surprise wasn't Lachlan Ilias the star last night at Shark Park. The South Sydney Rabbitohs getting their season off to a flying start with a 27-18 win over the Cronulla Sharks, who were, of course, missing their superstar Nicho Hynes. But Lachlan Ilias, though, he's had a whole season under his belt. How impressed were you with his performance last night?
That's the best I've seen him play. All the ball went to him, actually. Normally you see the bunnies, it all goes to the left. This time it went to the right. I thought he was sensational, strong defensively. He whacked a couple of guys. He was outstanding, absolutely outstanding.
Are we seeing him really come into his own? Because we spoke to him in the pre-season, and he said the confidence that he's had after having season 2022 under his belt, and he's starting to feel like this is the first time that he's been able to fill out size-wise as well, holding on to some muscle.
Well, he's a good size anyway for a halfback, but he's going to get better and better and better. They were good South.
Well, it was his defence that was, I thought, the most impressive. He had Teague Wilden a couple of times line him up and got a couple of errors out of Teague Wilden on his left shoulder and right shoulder. So he's sort of not one of those blokes who needs to, tackle with a certain shoulder, which makes him a bit more versatile in that position. But across the all the facets of his play, he was great.
Yeah, he does the little things really well, doesn't he? Where do you see South Sydney? Well, we haven't really mentioned them in our top 8, but.
Oh, there's top 4 for me, for sure. Yeah. Top 4.
Can you see them winning it?
Yep. They're very close.
They had to do it hard last night too, with no Totola. Arrow only played about 20 minutes, so not only do you have 2 guys go off, they're 2 interchanges, so everyone else has to work harder.
We saw that incredible moment as well where Ilias had that try saver on Ronaldo Mulatalo as well. Ronaldo is such a try-scoring machine. Yeah. He always puts that down. But
he saved one himself in this game, but yeah, this was incredible. Just the desperation that he shows to go over and compete. Ronaldo just took the foot off the gas for a second.
He was thinking, how am I going to celebrate this thing?
How did you see the Cronulla Sharks dealing without Nicho Hynes? We did see Trindle having a really solid game.
Braden Trindle was sensational. His kicking game was really good. Look, I wouldn't be surprised moving forward if Braden Trindle puts a lot of pressure on Matt Moylan for that 5'8" position. They really miss Nicho. I want to state the obvious there, but Braden Trindle, for me, he's too good a player to be in and out. He's genuine NRL halfback or 5'8". Yeah.
His goal kicked a couple from the sideline. I think on the other hand, I was impressed with South Sydney, their tactics. Well, they took on Matt Moylan, but not only that, they knew how Matt had this in his game. He stays really tight for that lead runner, and they exposed it about 3 or 4 times, and they just kept going there, which, when it works once, a lot of teams will go away from it. But it shows you, what? We'll just keep going there, They end up scoring 3 or 4 tries through those couple of corridors around Matt Moylan. It was pretty smart play, and like Joey said, Matt Moylan's under pressure now. He's got to own that position. That's both with attack and defence. So he was pretty quiet last night.
Seeing what we saw from Cronulla, how do you see their season shaping out?
Oh, they were good. They were still very willing. But Nicho will make a difference. I'm not sure how long Nicho's out for. That seems to be the trendy injury at the moment.
Calves.
A lot of calf injury, so...
Baby cows.
Baby cows.
Yeah, well, it is a week-to-week situation. Craig Fitzgibbon said that in his press conference last night. But one incident in particular as well, Wade Graham sent to the sin bin. What did we make of this moment in the match?
He tackled him hard. That's it. He smashed him.
Don't think it was worthy of sending in the bin?
Not at all. He hit the ball. There's no contact with the head. Look at that. He doesn't hit him in the head. He hits him in the the SC. Hits him in the SC.
Never look for him.
He hits him in the collarbone.
Mate, come on.
Mate, there's no contact with the head. It's whiplash. Looks good because the sweat goes everywhere. Please.
You think you trying to get Joey your glass?
I got him.
I'm happy with his intentions. It was, there was a crucial stage where. They wanted to turn the momentum of the game, and it's what we want to see in our leaders. But at the end of the day, he come off the ground and he made contact with the head.
He didn't hit him in the head. He hit him in the collarbone.
I think the fact that it looks spectacular, it doesn't help Wade. But if you're going to come out and make a statement like that,
You got to
Got to aim a little bit lower.
We will be keeping an eye on what the match review committee has to say about Wade Graham's incident there. All right, well, let's have a look at the Seagulls and the Bulldogs. Yesterday at Brookvale, Manly enjoying a big win over the Dogs, 31-6 the score in the end. A great way for Manly to start their season. It was quite close, though, at halftime. It was just 6 points of difference at halftime. What did you make of this?
Oh, yeah, it was an arm wrestle early. I guess the Bulldogs defended well in the first half. They had no ball, but in the end, the class of Manly rose, and it was the usual suspects, obviously, Turbo and Daly, Cherry Evans. But I've got to say, the two back rowers, Ola Kawatu and Kelma Tuolangi,
Yep.
they would be up there with the best back rowers in the comp.
They were impressive, Manly, and carrying on their trial form. Obviously, these two, Turbo and DC, didn't play in the trials, but they took out the pre-season challenge, and then they went to Brookie in front of a packed-out Full Pine Stadium, and they were just super impressive. And look, Daly Cherry Evans scoring 3 tries and being involved in everything. I thought their two centres, you say they're back rowers, their two centres, Tolu Kohler has certainly come on this year from last year. He's got so much excitement around his game. And Brad Parker, he came up with a couple of really nice stops in defence. And, yeah, everyone's doing their job at Manly and their stars are shining.
They had it on a platter, though. Like, it's their first games there against the Dogs, who there's a lot of pressure on the Dogs, and it looked like that. Their key players, their key signings, nearly looked overwhelmed at stages with, obviously what's gone on, how much talk's been going on about their team. But it was 6-6, and then Flanagan gets sin binned, and it goes 12-6. Then after half-time, it goes 18-6. So, like, game's over after that. So, and it was a pretty tough one.
Ridiculous.
Was
Pretty
that an
tough.
overreaction to sin bin him for that? Was it because of Tom's reaction? Do you think that added to...
Well, Tom would overrun the ball. Like, if you're going to put people in the sin bin from basically touching them, there was...
I thought he was just braced.
Yeah.
I thought Kyle Flanagan was just bracing.
So it could have been actually to get on the other side of Tom. He was manoeuvring himself to get in position somewhere.
Well, Tom's coming back into his space as much as Cole's going forward into Tom's space. So, like, you've got to have a look at the intention of Cole Flanagan. There's no intention of actually pushing a guy to gain an advantage.
Yeah.
I thought it was really hardly done by, and to take him off the field and have them defend with 12 men, that's really difficult against
I actually
Manly.
saw Tom last week outside NIDA. So he might be taking acting lessons. Not very good.
He could have an award coming up for him. Now, we're speaking of Tom. It was his first game back since May 2022. Of course, he did struggle with injuries, and he did go over to the States as well for that hamstring with Bill Knowles, who has become quite the hamstring expert. What did we make of seeing Tom Trbojevic back? Did he look back to
I
his 100%?
thought he was a bit rusty on occasions. A couple of his passes early, didn't find the mark. But he's a superstar. He sees the game better than anyone. There's a couple of times, that one worried me, where he didn't stretch out. I think he was just gassed. He was knackered.
I reckon what happened, there was an earlier incident where it could have been a knock-on. He just thought, I'll take the tackler as quick as possible so they can't change their mind.
Yeah, I believe he played with caution. He was still one of the best players on the field, and that's the scary thing for the rest of the competition. But I do believe he played with a little bit of caution. I don't think he really played to his 100%, especially with his speed and top-end speed. But give him a month, he'll be back to his best.
There are a few moments that you're sort of holding your breath when you see him, and he sort of pulls up and he cramps up. And can you imagine being Anthony
Could you
Seibold?
imagine being everyone on the northern beaches?
Yeah, exactly. Very nervous watching Tom Trbojevic. But
it's good to see him back.
Great to see him back.
He's had so much bad luck in our game. I think we all want to see Tom get a good run at it. We saw what he could do a couple of years ago when he was just a standout of our competition and only played 3/4 of that year.
What about the Bulldogs, Freddie?
I just thought they were overwhelmed. Up until the sin bin, without even playing good, they were still in the fight. So they were doing a lot of things right.
They defended well, didn't they?
Yeah, they were doing a lot of things right. The sin bin killed them. And then once it come in after half-time, there were moments there where they were coming to get him. I think the Fox had a couple of moments where he went up for a ball, and if a few things went their way, they would have scored some more points. But once the game got away from him, I thought Bird and Kickow, all those players. I thought Reid Marnie was pretty incredible.
Yeah, he was good.
He was good, but I thought
the thing that got me out of my seat was the kick from Viliami Kickow. It was possibly the worst kick I've ever seen in general play.
Is his kicking licence, has it been revoked?
He's too big.
Well, Matt Burton will watch that clip and he'll learn from that, to shovel off the responsibility to a back rower. Last tackle, he had a great opportunity to kick with his left foot there and put it in the corner. He's got a great kick on him, but he passed it off to his back rower to...
How's the ball dropped?
to kick there.
It's pointed towards the sideline.
His head was down.
The army, point the ball to where you're going to kick.
They're the little things Cameron Ciraldo will go over in the next week, and they'll start ironing those little things out.
Yeah. That was more from pressure because remember, it was a great set of defence.
Yeah.
Manly had got the ball in the corner and they just belted him. And it was more
That's your job.
Yeah, I think it was more of a reaction to Manly putting pressure on than the whole kicking scenario.
Well, it is just round one, so we'll have to wait and see what the Bulldogs have in store later on in the season. But well, it was a big upset on Friday night. The reigning premiers going down to the Brisbane Broncos. The final score 13 points to 12. Did anyone sense this one coming?
No, not at all. I thought they'd be competitive for 50 minutes, but I didn't see them beating Penrith.
When I look through their side, though, it's hard not to get excited. The Broncos, so much talent.
Good try.
What happened to Penrith? Where do you think they went a little bit off kilter?
Well, you know what? Although the Broncos' defence was fantastic, the conditions didn't help them. They looked a little bit unconventional. The speed didn't change much till Sonny Luke came on. And really, though, at the end of the day, Liam Martin got over the line, dropped the ball. Stephen Crichton had a situation where he broke through and had an open winger, which was a try, and he threw a forward pass, and then Jerome Luai got caught 1 centimetre out. So, I don't think we need to write off the Panthers just yet.
Yeah, we just saw a little bit of brilliance there from Ezra Mann, Billy Walters and Herbie Farnworth. But I think Kevin Walters would be most impressed with the defence and the way that they controlled the back end of the game. Adam Reynolds kicked a field goal well before full time, and they defended and they held that lead. So I thought Selwyn Cobbo was heavily involved at fullback. He had about 23 carries, so he certainly went down there to play tough, and that's the best thing about the Broncos, because last year they lacked a little bit of resilience, and it's what they certainly had on the weekend.
Ezra Mann, he is a top liner. I haven't watched him closely that much. The other night I watched him really close. Defensively, he was jamming blokes. He's got really good technique, and in attack he's looking more comfortable. Speaking to Adam Reynolds after a game, he said, he's the real deal. At
what point, Billy, you mentioned the Adam Reynolds field goal. At what point of the game would you be looking to do that? Because they still had about more than 10 minutes remaining on the clock.
Yeah, but that was to take them seven, not one, so that's a difference.
Yeah, because they were still in front by a try.
The earlier you get them, the easier they are.
Yeah. Because then you can really just play the percentages, kick long, get your defensive line in order, and make it really difficult and make the opposition force their hand. And that's when you come up with errors. So Adam Reynolds, he's one of the best at it. Dudley Cherry Evans, the other guy that comes to mind. But if you can get your team in front, you can really dictate terms.
The momentum does change, though. All the energy changes, doesn't it? Like you go from,
being 6 up to 7 up.
But looking to score, but then what happens is you become conservative and the other team preps up and goes, well, we need to go after him. And that's why, Penrith actually had an opportunity to kick a goal to take the field goal out of play, and then they would have had 5 minutes to score a try. So, that's something, a bit of an oversight maybe.
Sonny Luke didn't come on until the later stages of the second half. Do you think that will change?
Well, I think it will, but I don't think... I was hoping he was going to come on, because it felt like to me they were sort of pretty much one speed. But you got to remember, this is mostly the start of a long career. And Mitch Kenny and Appy Coruscant did a very similar sort of thing. Appy played more minutes, but Appy wasn't an 80-minute hooker really for the entire time he was at Penrith.
I think we underestimate too Taylor May. Yeah. He's their best dummy half runner, and you need your wingers getting your sets rolling forward. I think on the back of no Taylor May and on the back of no Appy Coruscant, that's where they've come back to the field a bit.
And we did see post-game as well. Frustration seemed to boil over a little bit with Jerome Luai and Jamin Salmon having an argument on the field. Take a listen to what played out.
I'm not blaming you for that. Deal. You can't make it. That one time you make it there. You said it 3 times.
Yeah, so a lot of expletives in that, but we actually have what was said
There wasn't
minus
that
the
many
swear words.
expletives, really.
So we beeped a lot. So Luai said, "Am I blaming you for that pass?" Salmon responded, "You did on that occasion." And Luai said, "Because you weren't leading, you said you couldn't make it because you were too tired." And then Salmon said, "That one time I couldn't make it."
Well, that's good. It's got to be the
Accountability.
players who hold each other to account. It can't come from the coaches all the time. That's fine. It's fine. That's what you got to do as a playmaker. You got to keep people around you accountable.
Did you pull up a lot of people in your career?
What do you reckon?
Do you remember any in particular that?
Every game. Every game. Just him.
What would you say?
Couldn't quite get there.
No, I don't know.
Billy?
It's not ideal that it's in a public space. That's the only thing. There's a camera right there. They
Oh,
can
Billy,
hear what you're
you
saying.
used to organise from the back.
Yeah,
You'd be barking at
for
players
sure.
and everything.
For sure. But now they have to deal with this. It's on television. We're talking about it. Those conversations happen all the time. And it's actually healthy to have those honest conversations. If you're sweeping that stuff under the carpet, well, you've got more problems. So it's not so much about it happening. It's about where it happened.
Okay, will Jamin Salmon do it again? Will he miss his lead when he's tired? No, he won't. There you are. There's your answer. Let it go.
Golden point it is. 10 metres out. Grant goes himself from dummy half and reaches out to win the game for the Storm.
He is one heck of a player, and if anyone deserves to win the game for their team tonight, it's Harry Grant.
Yes, what a way to open the season. A thrilling match between the Melbourne Storm and the Parramatta Eels. A golden point try we saw on the first night of 2023. Harry Grant, just incredible effort from him. What did you
He
make
was
of this
super, wasn't he?
performance?
I thought Harry Grant was the best player on the field. There was a period in the second half where he regained a kick, got a penalty for that, then caught a marker offside, got his team down the other end and then set up the try for Nick Meaney. But it was a close game. These are the two of the premier teams in the competition, and one of them played in the grand final last year. This was the end of that movement. That Harry just had an incredible 2 minutes and really dictated the whole set. But they didn't go away, Parramatta. I thought they fought pretty hard. Beautiful pass there by Josh Hodgson, who was one of the best players for Parramatta. I thought his return from an ACL injury was really good. Munster coming back from that finger and then delivers this, which just shows his class. And then it goes down to the wire in Golden Point, and this happens. Harry Grant catches the marker, just a little bit slow getting back. Fatigue set into the Parramatta defence, and he took advantage.
What were you thinking of it during that first half? Because it was so close in that first half. We went into half-time without a try being scored.
Well, I think firstly, both teams went in with about 8 or 9 players as well. So it sort of shows you how quality these two clubs are. They were absolutely brilliant for the first game of the season to play at that standard and that speed and that toughness. I thought it was an awesome way to kick off the season. The big concern, I think, was Parramatta at the end of the game. I think Melbourne mostly should have been the team that fatigued more because I think they were down to, they had a couple of players out, and Parramatta, who, Mitchell, I think a lot been said about him at the moment. Josh Hodgson, I felt like they had the experience to handle that last 10, 15 minutes while Melbourne really owned the last 10, 15 minutes.
Well, I think both teams will actually look at that and review that and work out where they went wrong, because you think of the two sets of halves, Brown and Moses and Munster and Hughes, and they couldn't get the field goal done. They couldn't get it done in regulation time, and then they couldn't get it done in Golden Point. Harry Grant actually took advantage of a marker still getting back, and that's one area that both teams will look to improve.
Well, speaking of Cameron Munster, a big loss for him, for the Melbourne Storm going forward in the next few weeks. He's facing at least 2 weeks out, requiring surgery on that compound dislocation. I think they also found a fracture in his finger as well. But what an incredible effort for him to come back onto the field and play through that pain. And it was quite remarkable to see.
And then to deliver this, this was a big play in the game, and to come back out for his team, and his team needed him. I think we were saying in commentary that if Cameron Munster doesn't come back out on the field, will Parramatta win the game. So he came back out, made a difference, played through that pain, and Not sure how long he'll be out for now. He's had surgery to clean out that compound dislocation, and hopefully it won't be too long for Melbourne fans.
And they will be missing Xavier Coates as well, who is facing 1 to 2 weeks out with that SC joint injury as well. But for Melbourne,
Where's the SC?
SC is where your clavicle meets your sternum. A lot of, or as some like to call it, collarbone.